Sometimes you don't know if what's real or what's not. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, social media.
How do we make ourselves unique?
I try to stay consistent, I guess.
How do you beat the competition?
There's enough work for anyone. So instead of like comparing yourself with other, maybe it's better even if you help them.
Do you have any advice or strategies that can put you in a place where you try and have like a steady stream of income or steady stream of clients that you're working with?
I think you need to.
That's a great tip. What do you think the future of a photographer looks like?
The future, I'm not sure, but
Welcome to the Mood Podcast, where each week we bring you inspiring conversations with top artists and creative minds from various fields, exploring their personalities, purposes, processes, and philosophies. Whether you're a seasoned photographer, an aspiring artist, or simply someone who just loves to learn and be inspired, this podcast is certainly for you. I'm your host, Matt Jacob, and thank you for joining me in today's conversation. And today our guest is Kevin Mirc, a travel photographer who has captured wonderful images from some of the most incredible destinations around the world. Kevin's work is characterized by its vibrant colors, dramatic compositions, and a unique ability to evoke a sense of adventure and wonder. In this episode, we dive into his journey as a photographer, exploring what first inspired him to pick up a camera and how the online persona of @Wondersky came to life. Kevin shares his creative process from scouting locations to capturing the perfect shot, and we discuss the philosophy and vision behind his work, how he uses storytelling to convey emotions and messages through his images. We also touch on the challenges of travel photography and the industry as a whole, the evolution of his style, and the impact of social media on his growth as an artist. Kevin offers valuable advice for aspiring photographers on balancing content creation for social media with staying true to their artistic vision. Additionally, we explore Kevin's thoughts on adventure and sustainability and the responsibility that photographers might have in promoting responsible travel and conservation. So now I bring you Kevin Mirc. Kevin Mirc, welcome
Yes.
to the Mood Podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's great to have you, and great to have a fellow Bali resident with us. So I wanted to start with, before we kind of get on to kind of who you are and what you do. One thing I've seen you talk about is how photography is a window to the world. Can you explain that a little bit more in terms of your insight?
Yeah, so photography, window to the world, window to the soul. I see it like it's a way to express, to show the world to people that maybe don't will not go places, don't travel. How would they know if there's no people like you or me that will, I guess, document? Photography for me is more like a documentary, show different angles, different perspective, and I see it also like a superpower, like it's time travel. You freeze a moment, and people can see it in 200 years, and then remember, oh, this guy took this picture, and that's what happened at this time. If we're not here to document, then it's almost like it never happened. So it's like it's a window for people, pretty much.
And it's a window that is very subjective, right? It depends on your perception as a photographer. And we'll talk about this a little bit later about what makes you different and what makes photographers different from others. But you choose to document landscape, cultures. Why are those kind of two main genres important to you in terms of your perception of the world?
I guess because it's how my journey started as a photographer. First with landscape because of traveling, getting out of the comfort zone, out of the country, learn English, and I guess the more accessible first approach to photography was landscape. And culture, I guess it comes with travel. You experience different people, different way of living from other people. Maybe you might not understand, and you want to understand. So you try to capture it. You try to get their point. Um, yeah, I guess that's it.
And we're living in a place that is full of culture and landscape, right? Was that something that drew you to Bali initially?
I guess not mainly. Um, I guess with most of the people here, they don't know how they ended up here.
Yeah.
So it became one of the reasons that made me stay, I guess. Maybe not the reason that made me like come here in the first place, but then discovering the island, the culture, all the variety of landscape you can get here. You can get within 1 hour, you have a luxuriant jungle, and then you have a freezing volcano. Then you have like black sand beach, white sand. Like you can get everything here, and like it's all like compact kind of. So and yeah, culture definitely is one of the main things that made me stay. Yeah,
I think Bali is is a microcosm of Indonesia in general in terms of the diversity that you can get here. It's predominant. It has a predominant culture, but certainly the landscape is diverse. Like you said, within an hour's scooter ride, right?
yeah,
It's you can get pretty much anything you want, apart from snow.
yeah. Not yet.
No, no.
Maybe it will come.
Yeah,
Then you have Bali, but you have also so many different islands in Indonesia.
yeah.
Like you can just fly 1 hour, and then it can be like similar but completely different also, and different still like rich in culture, but different culture than here.
Wondersky. Tell me about that name and why.
That name, it came from uh, two two things. So wonder came from wanderlust, like spirit of adventure. When I started traveling, it was like 10 years ago now. And sky came from in my dreams. I'm always flying. I ended up flying. Like I grew up with Dragon Ball Z.
With what? Sorry,
Dragon Ball Z,
Dragon
the
Ball Z.
anime.
Oh, I don't know that.
This guy, Son Goku.
Ah, okay, right.
So they are flying everywhere,
Yeah.
and like it's like a dream. Like if I would have to pick one superpower, I would be like flying. So I just combine the two words, wonder, sky, and then I put double Y because the other one was taken.
And you named your dog Sky, who's with us
Yeah,
today.
and
Yeah.
then I just switch Sky Wonder. That's her.
Your style, I mean, we're going to get onto that in a minute. I'm interested to know how you cultivated that style and why it might be important. But let's rewind a little bit about your beginnings and kind of the point in your life where you felt photography was kind of your calling. I know travel was a big part of it, but tell us your introduction into photography, how that all became.
So photography, it's been a huge part of my life, even before I started. Like when I was younger, or like I was looking at National Geographic magazine or any travel magazine, I was always like in oh, like wow, like whoever took that picture is like master. And I always wanted to be that person that can do the same, but never put like purpose or time to pursue this when I was living in France. And then with traveling, this came more naturally, I guess. Traveling, okay, pick up a camera and then just shoot whatever. Even if first it was just shooting automatic everything.
Yeah.
And as a hobby, it came with the travel. The travel brought the photography into my life, but as a hobby. And then at the one point in my life, was after the wedding of my best friend in Lebanon. I basically spent all my money. I spent all my money, and I was living in Australia at that time. and doing any kind of work. And it was fun. It was a great lifestyle, but not doing something fulfilling, not something I like, just for the sake of money. So on my way back there, I was in the Philippines and kind of like backpacking, but like hardcore because no money left. And then I was in the hotel room and I was thinking like, what do I like to do? I like to take pictures, and maybe there's a way to make it like people would pay me for it.
And this was what year?
That was in 2018 or 19.
Okay.
So then I was in the hotel room and I was on Facebook, still using Facebook at that time.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of Facebook groups, French in Sydney, French in anywhere. So I just put a message on this group, French in Sydney, just with a few pictures I took and saying, okay, this is what I do, this is what I can do for you. And I didn't expect so many answers from people.
That's awesome.
So that's how I got the first job there. And then I shifted slowly from all those jobs like construction, removalist, everything, flyers in letterbox, anything. Slowly shifting to more photography work. And then 1 year later, I moved here and did the same.
How has we talked about travel. I resonate with that because I was a traveler before I was a photographer. And it just kind of came with the territory almost. How has travel itself impacted your view on life and your kind of outlook on how you want to express yourself?
I guess the main thing first is that I learned English.
Helps.
Like in high school, we learn English in France, but I think the high school system there, in the school system, is not the best for languages. So I was really average, like below average in English. And then I moved to Australia, and 3 months later, I was already kind of fluent. Like just like that, like all those years in school, you don't get anywhere. You just move abroad. You stick with English people for a few months, and that's it. Then you dream in English, and then you sorted. So yeah, I guess travel impacted with with English first, and then just like discovering and learning all those new culture because you don't know about it unless you go and see for yourself. So yeah.
And you having a kind of mixed origins, right? You're half Madagascan, half French. They speak French in Madagascar, right? So there's
A lot speak French, yeah, like
okay.
either good French or broken French, but still, yeah.
Tell me a little bit about Madagascar. I haven't been. I'd love to go. Tell me
Madagascar
about
is
how kind of your roots there impact who
so
you
my
are today.
roots there is they coming from my mom, and it's a beautiful and wild, huge island. A lot to discover there. Uh, my parents actually now they live there like half a year pretty much. So I try to go every year. And I was living there for 1 year when I was younger also. And there and also there is a French island 1 hour from there. It's part of France, but it's not in France. It's called Mayotte. So I was living there for 8 years. So I guess I had this kind of travel lifestyle already, like from ages ago.
Does it influence? Do you think your roots in Madagascar
Ah, yeah, definitely, yeah,
influence?
yeah.
Yeah. How?
Because when I was younger, I was living there and experiencing already like different culture than Western. And as I grew up, then I guess I wanted to see more of it. Like Madagascar was kind of like something I knew already, so something else like Asia, Australia, and still need to go to South America. But yeah, made me want to seek more of different culture everywhere.
And did you have inspirations at that time? You know, when you started to travel and you started to kind of pick up a camera with traveling, were there people that you looked up to in that space and were kind of inspired by, or did you just kind of focus on your own thing, on your own style and creating that?
No, definitely there were some people. I think yeah, on Instagram that I was looking up to, like mostly in the travel first, and then more in the like culture. Like I love what you do, for example.
Thanks.
Like amazing, and maybe not only people but also places. Like there's like people based in some places, and then like people based in Iceland or like in Africa or Australia. That they made me like. That's how I went to Australia in the first place, because of um, people there, and also because of a movie, Wolf Creek.
Oh, right. Okay. Interesting. Um, Tell me a little bit, like, as you're kind of creating your way in the photography world, especially with the aesthetics and style, and we talked about uniqueness earlier, like when you're trying to be, I guess, competitive, whether directly or indirectly with other photographers, and you're trying to pitch for jobs, and it starts to become quite overwhelming sometimes. How do you think that us as photographers are able to stand out from the crowd? You know, there are more photographers than there have ever been, but what photographers than there have ever been before, right? How do we do that? How do we make ourselves unique? How do we make our work unique? We're using the same gear most of the time. We're using the same software most of the time. What's the secret recipe?
It's definitely a interesting era now. I guess mostly post COVID, everyone just popped up from nowhere, and people can take amazing picture now even with the phone, you know. And but how you stand out? I think you need to stick to your style, develop your style, and stay true to it. Don't try to like because there's new people out there that doing something different, and maybe you think you have to do something similar to success. I think you need to keep your own style, your own recipe, and improve it without trying to compete or to conform, I guess.
How do we do that?
How do we do that? That's a good question.
How did you create your style? I mean, your style is unique. It's not. I mean, I've talked about this all the time. I think it's impossible to be original these days, but it's unique. You can still find your little unique box, right?
Yeah,
Was that by accident, or did you think, okay, well, this is what I want to create, and this is going to be my style throughout,
I think it was a little bit by accident, and I didn't notice it myself until people told me
right?
about it. Like for example, I would sometimes get posted in one places because people share your stuff all the time. Even sometimes they don't ask, but and then people would send it to me and say, "Oh, I knew it was you even before I checked the tag."
Right.
And I, when you get that a few times, first, I guess because of imposter syndrome thing, you don't think like you're good enough or something, or you don't think you stand out. But when then a few people show it to you, then you start to believe it and to have more confidence. And so I don't know where's the secret thing in my style, but I try to stay consistent, I guess.
Hi, everyone. Just a really quick break in the podcast to tell you about something that's been a game changer for my own work. You know, I'm all about creating content that's impactful and visually stunning. And a big part of that is thanks to Artlist. I use Artlist for all the dramatic cinematic music you see in the trailers, and that brings all my other videos to life. And their massive library of high quality stock footage and sound effects is honestly a lifesaver. Whether you're a filmmaker, content creator, or photographer, Artlist has everything you need to take your projects to the next level. What I love most about Artlist, though, is how easy it makes finding the perfect asset. I'm super lazy, and their platform is super user-friendly. And the quality of their music and footage is just top-notch. It doesn't matter if you're working on a big project or just something small, Artlist certainly has the range and the quality to make your work really stand out. Plus, everything is royalty-free, so you can use it however you like without worrying about the legal stuff. And because I believe in sharing the good stuff, here's a little perk for you. Use the link in the description to sign up for an annual plan, and you'll get 2 extra months free. It's a great deal to keep your creative juices flowing even longer. All right, let's get back to the episode. I think I can tell you the secret, but
You have
having
it?
spoken to many, many people in your position, is practice. You know, the more you do it, the more you kind of learn your own style, right?
Yeah,
You
that's true.
know, there's a million different avenues you can go down, but you can only find those avenues if you actually walk down them, right? Oh no, that doesn't work. Come back. Oh no, that doesn't work. Oh, I don't really like that. And then you end up finding what you like and what you're good at, and then what you can be recognized for, which I think is super important. Something else that I really wanted to ask you about that I saw on some of your work is how you can have an impact with your photography. And you talked about sustainability and working with brands that don't promote, you know, negative impacts on the climate, environment, on animals, which I'm in full support for. Can you elaborate a little bit more as to why and how, if that's been quite successful for you, does that limit the people that you can work with, or do you find that, you know, a lot of brands are open to that kind of philosophy?
Yes, I think it limits a little bit, but there's still brands out there that will prioritize photographer like us that want to make an impact, but it's hard to find them.
Like, as in less and less so, or do you think that it's growing a little bit and that there's more?
Um, I think it's growing. It's better. It's more than in the past for sure. Like before, you would never hear about those brands, and now there's more and more that are recycling things to make new products. Like even like for Sky, like this brand, Kali Dogwear is all from recycled stuff. The that's the main how do you say that, mojo or
Business model?
model, yeah.
Yeah.
So this kind of brand before, I think it was really small. You would never hear about it, and now I guess we start to care more about the
Mm.
planet now. I hope it's not just a trend, and
I don't think it's even a trend yet. I mean, I wish it was. I don't think it's as trendy as a lot of other things, but you know, I wish more people would care. More people would. Certainly, photographers. I think a lot of artists think they're excluded from having to have any responsibility in that sense. But you know, we could certainly do more in the industry. I don't see many people doing work with brands that share the same philosophies and same brand values. What I see is a selfish nature in what people want to get with likes and follows and money, right? And I get it, because most photographers, most filmmakers are self-employed, right? They don't know when the next job's coming, so they need to pay the bills, etc., etc. But I think if we're able to showcase a culture or a landscape, like you said, window to the world, right? If we're able to do that, then I don't see why we shouldn't be showing a window to these more important. Um,
like a voice for them, right?
Absolutely,
Mm.
yeah. But the brands have to be responsible as well. That there aren't enough. If there aren't enough brands to be wanting to do that kind of work as well, having the budget, then what can we do, right? We have to do our own personal stuff, which we don't get paid for. And
And then sometimes the brands they just pretend they just put this label, but then if you do some digging, then you realize that
yeah,
they don't.
no, it's just a quota, and it's
Yeah,
just for
yeah,
show, right?
yeah,
It's
yeah.
just for status.
So it's hard also even for us when you start working with someone that how do you know if it's legit?
Are there any specific causes that you feel very strongly about that you want to do more work in?
I think here for the local issue, I guess it will be the plastic.
Yeah.
Like I would really want to like maybe reach out to like Shanghai Watch or something
Hmm.
and help them with any project they have. Um, then in the past I was working helping Rescue 2000.
Oh,
It's
Rescue
a
2000,
charity, I guess.
an NGO.
NGO,
Yeah.
yeah. So I put a little pause to that because I was doing it for like 1 year straight every month that I had a little break. But I think I'm ready like to get back to it and help again, help the island again. Any way to help to give back to this island is good.
Yeah, it gives so much,
Yeah.
and we just take all the
Yeah.
time, right? Um, we,
Especially now, like we see this over developing is like
oh
insane.
my goodness, it seems to be getting worse daily, and I don't want that to put people off from coming to Bali, but I also do want to put people off from coming to Bali. But that it's so focused on essentially the Canggu area that it's insane. You go out on the road any day, and it just seems to be more and more construction and more roadworks and more queues. But you go 20 minutes outside to the north or to the west, something, and
Even 10 minutes.
you're just in paradise,
Yeah.
right? It's so weird. But yeah, Bali gives so much, and I think it's so. I mean, even if it's a selfish endeavor to give back, because it is, like, we feel more fulfilled, feel like we have a purpose if we just give something back, whether it's just helping a local family or rescuing 20 dogs or whatever it might be, right? I think if we can find that type of purpose in our hearts, it can help just so much. But in the photography aspect, like I mean, I don't do enough either. I'd like to do a lot more when it comes to photography because it's so powerful.
Yeah.
And when we start to grow on social media and we have more eyes on our work, then I mean, I'm going to put this question to you with someone who's has over 50,000 followers on his Instagram. Do you think there's a point where the responsibility now shifts? Like, okay, I've got a lot of people looking at my work. That means now I have an element of influence where I can essentially shape or affect people's opinions and awareness and education on matters that I believe in. Do you think that's fair to say for people who have start to get larger social followings?
I think it's like it's not it shouldn't be mandatory for them, but they should have this purpose on their own. Like if they have many people looking up to them and following them, it could be even kids, you don't know, like the future generation. So you don't want to. I mean, I think you have a purpose or like to show the good example.
Yeah, it's almost like celebrities. Oh, take a football player, right? A lot of people are divided. Once you become a famous football player and you get paid millions, do you have a responsibility to be a good role model? Do you have a responsibility to behave well and show a good example to the younger generation? It's difficult. I understand kind of both sides, but in the footballers example, they got into football just because they loved football, right? They didn't get into football. I mean, 99.9% of the time, they didn't get into football to be famous. Well, yeah, they probably a lot of them kind of like that side of it and the money, of course, but they love the football. I don't think we can say that about photographers or filmmakers and social media. Like, I think most photographers, filmmakers, me included, use social media and put a lot of effort into growing on social media because they either want to be social media famous, they want that validation, that dopamine, like, oh, people love me, right? They get likes and follows, or they want to make money, right? They want to get exposure from brands and things like that. So I don't think they're kind of the same. Um, so therefore, I think that if you are going into the social media world with the purpose of getting likes and follows and people and an audience, then that intent is very, very different. your intention is to get an audience. Therefore, once you get that audience, for me, it should be integral that you have a purpose and a responsibility to do something good, right? To either, I mean, it's why education's good. Education, inspiration kind of comes with the territory, hopefully, once you get an audience. But like offer something back, like try and do something good with that audience that you've worked so hard to garner, right? I don't know what you think about that, if you agree with
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Definitely.
Have you felt that in your own with your own work and with your own social following?
Yeah, for sure. Like, I try to stay and be genuine as possible, not to show someone I'm not. But I try to say the same I'm in the daily life, like on my social media. Sometimes it's a bit overwhelming, social media for sure. But I get that. I agree that we have a purpose to educate and document and try to do the right thing, I guess. Yeah.
That's why I have an issue with influencers.
Yeah.
Don't mind influencers, but influence for the right things.
When the people call me influencer, I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm a photographer. It's different.
Yeah. People come here on influencer holidays, right? Where they just go
Yeah.
to the main spots around Bali just to get their, the stupid influencer shot of behind looking up but with a waterfall behind or something ridiculous like that. If they have that audience, use it for good. Like, I'm not saying do everything for a good cause, but just like if you have an audience, then like do some good. Like do something useful for it. Don't just do the next thing just for more likes and more followers.
Yeah.
Anyway, I digress. I've gone to the social media topic again.
No.
Talk to me about business of photography, because I'm as someone who doesn't do photography full time and kind of pursue the business side of working with brands and doing photography projects and stuff. Tell me a little bit about that world and how you balance the personal art with the commercial pressures. Difficult?
That's difficult, but I guess like everything, you need the balance. Like I found out, like every time you ask yourself some question about should I do more of this or less of that, it's all about the balance for everything. Everything in life is the balance. So for commercial and personal is the same. Sometimes you get a lot of similar jobs that they don't fulfill you. Like it's not something you enjoy doing. Could be like anything like shooting couples or like a I don't know, like sometime just basic real estate thing, like you don't feel you can add your creative touch.
Mm,
It can be yeah, it can be a bit stressful because you feel a bit caged.
yeah.
So but then at the end of the day you have to eat. So but if you like you love your craft and you love getting out there, and you can find project that will align with you, with your values and with your art. It's hard to get, but it's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can even do like just project like with no money intent, just to be creative.
Do you have any advice or strategies that can put you in a place where you try and have like a steady stream of income or steady stream of clients that you're working with, especially if you're can be a little bit selective with those clients?
I guess for those, it's the one you have to seek those clients, because it's rare that those clients will come to you. You have to get out there and show your work and have a portfolio and send 100,000 of emails,
Mm,
which I'm really bad at it. But
yeah.
I guess the best way is to get out there and show your work, show you the work you're proud of, mostly. Like your favorite project, your favorite pictures, favorite video, or anything.
How do you beat the competition? Or do you not worry about that?
It's an interesting question. Um, Especially now with all the new competition, but I guess I was a bit scared and feeling threatened by that before. But with time, I understood that there's no really competition. Like I see it more as like we're all doing something we love, and there's enough work for anyone. So instead of like comparing yourself with other and try to compete and try to beat them, and maybe it's better even if you help them. Like I guess you, me, we have a lot of creative friends as well. If there's something, sometimes you try to get all the jobs, even if it's not your expertise, you will try to do it. But sometimes it's better maybe to give it to someone else. Like, oh, maybe he's better fitted to do this job, or she's
Yeah.
better, and then maybe even we can work on it together. You know.
Yeah.
So I try not to see too much the competition now, and then I feel better.
Like that.
Yeah.
So that's liberating.
Yeah. Because
Yeah.
if you think too much, then you will get in a spiral, and it's not good.
That's really important for us to remember. And I think that there is enough work to go around.
Mm.
There's enough abundance in this life for people
Yeah.
to take their piece of the pie on. So even with so many photographers these days, it's still out there.
Yeah.
There's still brands with budgets, right? And
If it's not this one, then it's the next one.
exactly,
It's fine.
yeah. Say that to the guy who's doesn't have any money in his bank account. Tell me about your attitude to storytelling with images. It's a difficult subject because it's not very clear cut. Everyone has their own way of doing it, and with still images, it's even more difficult, right? I want to focus on still images more than films, but how do you tell stories?
How do you tell stories? So for me personally, I try to show um, different point of view, different angles. That's why I like different using different lenses, because you get a close up, you get a wide angle, you get a drone shot. It's the same story but different angles. So I guess that give a bit of perspective for the watcher, the the one seeing the picture. And then I guess with Instagram, when you do carousel, it's easier to tell a story because you just slide and then
Yeah,
you see from the same, even like, I don't know, I can get you portrait and then a close up of you with the glass, maybe of you not bad, and then they know pretty much what we're talking about. Um, yeah, I guess that's what I do the most, is showing different angles and different perspective. And I guess the caption as well, like words, story, like for culture, for example, ceremony, then you want to tell people, not only show the picture, but say, what is it about,
mm,
like a Galungan festival or anything like that coming soon. Yeah, I guess any tools you have to tell the story, camera, words, uh, voice, if you want to add voice, anything. Yeah.
yeah. A lot of it is technical, isn't it? Um, Portrait is a little bit different because you can help with the person, and if you're into directing or posing, then you can help with the expression. But yeah, I think I love your take on the different angles, um, and how to, because I love doing like an environmental angle and a close up as well, and that's why I like flying the drone. People don't think portraits and drone, but I think it's really important to provide context,
Yeah.
and this is where it's it's a double-edged sword with, you talked about carousels. I love showing series of images because for me that tells a story. I think one image can't really tell a story. It's only like you can provide context, especially if it's an environmental shot. You can get other things in the frame, right? But I don't think you can tell us a story. I think that gets thrown around way too much. But when it comes to series of images, like Instagram have screwed us again because it's great that we have carousel option and that we're kind of forced into doing carousels. No one really posts one image anymore. But that means we've got to we've got to take like 5 times as many photos and edit 5 times as many photos just for one post, right? But um, yeah, first world problem, I guess. How do you see us moving forward in the photography world, and what do you think the future of a photographer looks like over the next 5 to 10 years?
Mm, I guess we have to give a definition about photography, because now it's um it's evolving a lot with the AI. But it's like the question: do you consider AI photography, or is it just art? Like, for me, I guess it's more art for the AI, because it takes away a bit the process of to making a picture. Like, it takes away the thrill. So I think photography will still evolve, and will still be there, because we need photograph to show people in 1,000 years like how it was in our generation. But I guess with the AI coming, the future, I'm not sure. But uh, I guess it needs to be a balance again. Like, you can use AI for small things like removing something on the picture, removing people. I think it's fine. But when you change completely the photograph, for example, you like me, I love the process on creating a picture. There's a full story behind the picture. Usually people will scroll on social or go on the website, see the picture, say, wow, nice picture, but they don't know the process. Like, oh, I woke up at 5 a.m., 4 a.m. for this shot, maybe 1 week in a row because I didn't get the right
Yep.
condition.
Yep.
And then now people with AI will just go there in the middle of the day and put some stars or put nice sunset, and it takes away the magic of it. Yeah.
I think that's important of getting BTS as well. Like,
Yes, yes, yes.
again, it's something else we have to think about and add, but that's the
Yeah.
challenge, I guess. And I think that will help with kind of separating the good from the great photographers.
Yeah.
A lot of people won't necessarily want to do that. It's a lot of extra work, but I think certainly the professionals or the people that have come up before, the real rise of Instagram and the real rise of AI, then I think to stay at that level and to show that they are real images and it's a real process, like you said. Um, Important to get BTS. Important to, I think, legislation to catch up with how we're going to authenticate real images. Even Instagram now, you have this made with AI
Yeah.
label. It's super weird. I don't. Yeah, I haven't.
Sometimes you don't know if what's real or what's not.
Yeah.
Even even videos, you don't know if it's the right face, the
Yeah.
real face of someone. If they put
Yep.
someone's face, and then
I'm more
there's
scared
like,
for people using, like, the way I'm talking now, and people could easily use these clips to just either use my voice or my face to just completely generate something artificial,
yeah,
which scares me.
it's scary.
Yeah, like my mum getting these people, these old people getting taken advantage of. I mean, I don't know if you've heard any stories like this
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
where their daughter or their son's voice has been cloned, and then they get sent this message saying, "I need some money,
Asking money.
mum."
Yeah, yeah.
Like, how fucking scary and screwed up is that? And that's just the tip of the iceberg. So yeah, I mean, photography is kind of a luxury, but in the real world, we've got to prepare ourselves.
It's getting a bit out of hand. So
Yeah, we just stay in a little bubble, stay in a little Bali bubble. Where do you think? Oh, sorry. Why do you think people follow you?
follow me.
Why should they follow you? Two questions.
Okay, so why they follow me? I think they probably have a love for photography, I guess. And as I live in Bali, maybe they've either been here before or want to come here, and then maybe they're looking for inspiration about Bali in general or travel, or maybe it's their dream to travel also, or to escape the office life. I don't know. Maybe that's one of the reason. If they love travel and photography, that's my main thing. My goal is to travel as much as possible as long as I can, because it came late. I think into my life, then I realized that life is short. We have only one, but I don't know why before we don't realize it.
Mm.
It's like, oh, we need to work and make money, and then you wake up and you're like, oh, already past 30s. So yeah, I think if they like genuine and uh, photography, travel, culture, that's my main thing. If they like dogs also.
Excuse the interruption very briefly, but I'd like to just take a moment to introduce you to a partner that has supported this podcast for a long time now. And it's Yore, a brand that truly stands at the intersection of art and craftsmanship. Yore offers handcrafted jewelry and wearable pieces of art, some of which are infused with something extraordinary: moon rock. Yep, you heard it right. Yore's unique designs incorporate rocks from the moon into silver and gold, creating really special jewelry that's not just beautiful, but otherworldly. Every piece from Yore is ethically sourced as well, and it's locally handcrafted, ensuring that you're not just wearing jewelry, but an actual story, a piece of art, and a connection to something far, far greater. Whether you're drawn to spirituality, fashion, the art of meaningful adornment, or just feeling and looking epic, Yore offers something truly special. Plus, they offer free worldwide shipping, making it easier than ever to bring a touch of the cosmos into your life. As a special offer for my lovely audience of the Mood podcast, you can click the link below in the description and use the code Art of Intent at checkout to receive a whopping 20% off your first order. So, don't miss this chance to own a real piece of the moon and experience the art of intent with Yore. Okay, I'm done. Promise. I'll let you get back to it. What about how you move forward and how you evolved? Is that something that you're constantly thinking about? Like, how do I get better, or how do I tell the next story? How do I evolve as an artist?
I guess it's with what you said before, with practice, like practicing, evolving, like practicing. Maybe when you get really good at what you're doing now, maybe then try something new. Sometimes we are a bit forced to, like video, but but I guess it's not a bad thing also to add something to your um, to your skills, to your skill set. So yeah, try something new, get good at this, and then again something new, but always something that you enjoy doing. Don't do something because you feel forced to, but then it's always balance again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's part of the, being able to enjoy the process, right? Rather than, do you think about success being an end goal for you, or something that you want to achieve, or are you just more focused on the practice, the evolution, the journey?
I guess it's always in the back of my mind, like success, but it's like success is like maybe at the end or in the process, but when you fix one goal and then you reach it, and then fix a higher goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Always nonstop.
Yeah.
What does if you think about success right now, what does that look like to you?
Success right now, I guess it would be more jobs, curated, I guess is the word, with what I enjoy more doing, like culture and travel. Not really commercial, but more travel and culture oriented, like bit like National Geographic, I guess,
Yeah.
to give an example. So shift those not only like projects, but like I guess get I don't know how to say that, to like main projects in this field
Yeah,
instead of commercial and things that sometimes you don't enjoy doing. Yeah.
having that freedom of choice.
Yeah.
Let's start wrapping things up, and I want to kind of end with a little bit of takeaways maybe we can give to the audience. I want to hear from you. I'm going to give you the chance to give me 3 tips and tricks that you've kind of learned over 6, 8, 10 years: travel, photography, business, social media, art, creativity, kind of all of that rolled into one. And speaking to those people that are wanting to do what you want to do, right? People who you say should follow you or do follow you. What can what advice can you give to them and that you've learned along your journey?
I guess one advice, it's I get a lot from people that they want to do this, but they don't do it. They don't start. Like they're scared. They're like, "Oh, you're so lucky. Oh, I wish I could do this." And then I'm like, "But start. Even something small. Like if it's photography you want to do, then get even a entry camera is enough to start and practice. And then maybe later you get something else, but these days is enough to start and just practice. Yeah. So I guess that's one tip. I get it's kind of like I guess it's taken a given this tip,
Hmm.
but people need to hear it more. Like they just need to start somewhere, even
Yeah.
small. Then another tip is yeah, because there are people asking about how do you edit this, how do you do that, but I guess it's just the best is to practice. Yeah, practice is the best.
Yeah.
And the third tip, I'm not sure. I
That's
don't think I
enough.
have
I
one.
think
I can ask you the last one.
the third tip would be, I think it's easier said than done, but being true to yourself. Like I think it's more important to know who you are than it is to go and create amazing work. I don't think they're mutually exclusive. I think to create a body of work that you're proud of, or to, you know, look back at some images or films or whatever type of art or creativity you're into and be proud of that. I think you can only do that when you truly know yourself and are able to, therefore be true to yourself in terms of what voice or what style or what you're trying to do with everything. And that comes across in work and communication, and certainly with brands, clients, your audience. So I think that would be. I'd certainly agree with your first two. I think, you know just start. It's so many people, and it's more accessible than ever right now. Like if you
Yeah.
have a phone, you can start. If you got well, you've got social media is free, so you can go on there, garner some inspiration, start posting, send to your friends and family, and just go out and just shoot. Learn. YouTube's free. Learn the basics. Like, there's so many free
Yeah.
resources these days. Um, so yeah, I definitely agree with that. And then practice. I think people used to say that to me, like, no, I got it. No, you practice, whether it's edits or the most common. I've just built an online course around this question. Most people ask me, or they stopped asking me now because I think they know me better. But what camera did you use? What lens do you use? Or what settings did you use for that shot? Right? It's like,
Yeah.
no, you're asking the wrong question. Um, Practice and just go and figure out what does work. Okay, and it's not the gear, and it's not most of the time it's not the setting.
Yeah. I
Right?
wanted to say something about that, about it's not only the gear. It's like so many factors that will like affect one shot, or like the I guess ability or capacity of one photographer to take advantage of the gear. Like it's not only the gear, but like I was always thinking like even just the breathing. Like if someone has more steady hand than someone, then they can take more advantage of a slow shutter speed and get more light than someone else, for example.
Yep.
Just like, oh, maybe if you work on your breathing, or if you have more steady hand, or
That's a great tip.
like someone, because when you shoot in low light, okay, you can use maybe the flash or something, but some people maybe don't like to use the flash. And someone with a more steady hand could shoot more in the blue hour than someone else. I don't know, like so many factors.
Yeah, I drink too much coffee to shoot blue hour. No, but you're totally right, because people rely on image stabilization. If they buy the most expensive camera and they go, oh, it's got, image stabilization, I'll be fine. But it's kind of defeats the point. The point being, if you're mindful and thoughtful enough, and you're able to be in that moment and be relaxed. And people don't talk about breathing enough, but it's so important, especially if you're shooting maybe wildlife or you're shooting people, right? Landscape's a little bit different, maybe shooting on tripod, but even then, like, just to be able to breathe, be in the moment, make sure you get it capturing the right moment. All these little things, they're so much more important than the gear. It's not the gear that makes the photographer, right? It's the photographer that makes the gear. But
sometimes when people tell you, oh, your camera takes good picture, like,
oh.
not.
And I'm a guy that loves buying good equipment. I love,
me too. Like,
but that's not the same point.
Yeah.
It's like
it's just bonus,
Yeah, it's a bonus, exactly. Like if you've got to know how to use that equipment and get the best out of it. And yeah, obviously the better camera with the better sensor and the better lens is going to get you a better quality image. But you've got to know how to get that image in the first place to then get the best out of that quality, right? It's
like for example in paddle,
yeah,
you buy the best racket. The doesn't mean you're gonna be
not.
a great player.
Yeah, it's analogous to anything like that, right? Anyway, speaking of paddle, we've got to get you off to your paddle tournament. Thank you so much for joining me today. I know it's
Thank you for having me. It was great. Great conversation.
Really enjoyable. And I know you come here a few times before for coffee, so make sure you keep coming back.
Yeah, of course. And, I will.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you again.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
You will.
Cheers.
Thank you.